Friends, this is Lori Woods from Cuyamaca College, ESL instructor, and we're going to keep reading Same Sun Here by Silas House and Neela Veshwani. So we've been reading this book about two pen pals, Mina and River. And today we're going to read pages 34 through 53, page 34 through 53. So follow along with me. Remember, you can always use the settings button and slow my talking down to 75%. Okay, let's get started. This is a long letter. So, Dear River. So we know, if it says Dear River, then we know Mina, Mina is writing the letter to River. August 27th, 2008. And look, she drew pictures on her letter. This time we have pictures of the vegetable okra, because remember, Mina really likes to eat okra, and okra is grown in Kentucky. Okay. Dear River, thank you for your letter. It was as good as reading a book. I put Rufus's photograph under my library card in my box of special things. I keep the box hidden behind the sack of rice in a kitchen closet. Nobody, not even Kiku, knows about this hiding place. It is also where I keep my watch set to India time, so I always know when Daddy is sleeping. I have been thinking of what you said, that we can tell each other secrets and be our own true selves. That sounds very nice to me. I think it is cool that you play basketball. There is a basketball court near here, and I like to watch Kiku and his friends play. Kiko taught me HORSE, and sometimes he picks me up, so I am almost as tall as the basket, and I toss the ball into the net. I guess that is cheating in real basketball. But Kiku says, for me, it is okay. What is it like to play a real game? It must feel good when everyone cheers for you. Woo! Page 35. I would like to try eating okra the way your mama makes it. It sounds delicious. Daddy and I used to watch the okra leaves in her garden turn to follow the sun across the sky from east to west. So the leaves went like this, right? It was like a kind of magic. I am so happy to know that you live in mountains full of okra. I wonder if we can mail things like tomatoes to each other. I like that your poem is about how things used to be in your family. You should keep writing lots and lots of beautiful poems until you have enough to fill a book. And I think it's super funny that your teacher said lame, because lame is usually a word that only teenagers use. On the subway, there is something called poetry in motion. Poems are printed above the seats, so when you are sitting there on your way to the next station, you have something to think about. I read a poem on the subway that rhymed called I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I never knew before that the title of a poem could be a whole long sentence. Did you? Actually, maybe you could do that for your poem. Maybe you could call it We Were Like a Circle, or What We Used to Be. This month, there's a poem printed in the subway called Quarrel. Quarrel means argument or fight. It's like something you'd overhear walking down the street. I memorized it because it's short and because I was on the F train for a long time. It doesn't rhyme, so maybe you will like it. And here's the poem right here. Bob and I in different rooms talking to ourselves, carrying on last night's hard conversation, convinced The other one, the life companion, wasn't listening. So it's about an argument two people are having in their brains with each other, right? They're still remembering the argument. Sometimes mom and daddy act like that. After I read that poem, I started listening in on other people's conversations. And all of a sudden, it was like everybody was talking in poem. Here's something I overheard this morning while I was walking to the library. A lady in denim shorts and red high heels, carrying a package of toilet paper she just bought at the deli, said it in her cell phone. If you had been there, it would have been the best bus ride ever. So Mina is hearing poems everywhere. Language is poems. It's nice to have someone to talk with about poetry with. Thanks. Are freckles bumpy? I have always wondered. I think red hair is beautiful. My best friend in Mussoorie, Anuradha, has red hair and gray eyes. She is light-skinned like a white person, but she does not have freckles. Kiku says my skin is the color of a tea in a cup. He says that in America, being dark and foreign can get people into trouble. Why? Stereotypes, right? Stereotypes. Remember our vocabulary word? Stereotypes. Kiku says, my skin is, I already said that. He says that it is clear if you look around the world and read the New York Times. I didn't know what he meant until last month when we were at the library waiting in line at the photocopy machine. A crazy man called us terrorists. Stereotypes. Then Kiku called the man a beep. And the security guard made us leave the library. Kiku said a bad word. I never heard Kiku say a bad word before. He was so mad. He punched a garbage can. I wish Kiku had explained that we are not terrorists. I am afraid the security guard at the library thinks I make bombs. I walk by him very quickly now. I never told anyone about this because Kiku said not to. He said it would make Mom cry. Kiku says there are only two ways to be an American. Being born one. Number one, being born one. Number two, getting papers from the government, right? The naturalization papers, the citizenship papers. Okay, he says once you are an American, even if someone calls you a terrorist, you can get a lawyer for free and you can vote for Barack Obama. I have never heard that people in Kentucky are stupid. The stereotype. If I ever hear someone saying that, I will tell them they are wrong. I wonder why feeding pigeons is against the law, but saying mean things about people isn't. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think New Yorkers are very nice. On the subway, people give their seats to the elderly or to children or to pregnant ladies. Strangers carry strollers and heavy suitcases up the stairs for one another. People talk to each other. Just because. When I first came here, I thought everyone was scary because they walked so fast and said a lot of bad words. But now I walk fast too. And sometimes I say, what the hell? I have never been mugged, and neither has Mrs. Lau, who has lived in Chinatown for 55 years. I told her what your mama said about stereotypes, and she said it was true. She said, there's good and bad people everywhere. I wrote that down in my journal. Maybe I'll try it out like a poem. There's good and bad people everywhere. That was fun. Kiku Kiku says tourists who come here get drunk and shop and sightsee, but they do not understand the city. They think it is a playground, not a real place to live. He says it's because in the movies, New Yorkers always have a lot of money and are shouting at each other. Stereotypes. One thing I like about New York is that everyone is different. So nobody is weird because everybody's weird. Maybe that doesn't make any sense, but I'm not going to cross it out. I have never been in a cab, but my daddy's friend, Sushi Uncle, drives one. We walk and take the subway and sometimes the bus. Even Mayor Bloomberg takes the subway to get to work. I think it would be fun to raise my hand for a taxi and see it stop, but is expensive. Do you have a brother or sister? I have not answered all your questions, but I have to go now and wash the dishes before Mom gets home. There are a lot in the sink and Kiku never does them. Okay, now August 28th, 2008. So this is still Mina writing. She's going to keep writing. You know, Mina has a lot of things that she wants to say. So August 28th, 2008, we're on page 40. It is one day later. I think I will write this letter like a journal. So she's going to keep writing. I have just taken Cuba for a walk. First, I had to clean the sofa because Kiku got bicycle grease on it. He doesn't notice that it is always on his legs. Remember, he's a bicycle messenger. Your grandmother sounds very interesting. We learned about activists last year on Martin Luther King Day. I wrote a paper about he was like Gandhi, who fought the British. Can you tell me, what is your mama fighting for? I hope she will win. Is it fun to mow the lawn? How many windows are in your house? Do you have your own room? Last night, a big storm rolled in off of the river. When I heard the thunder, I went out the window and stood on the fire escape so I could see the sky. It was gray and ominous. I looked down the street and saw everyone walking fast. Nobody had an umbrella because it had been sunny all day. The wind got strong and cold, and the garbage can on the corner blew over and rolled in the street, and a taxi almost crashed into it. Then it started to rain so hard that people ran and flattened themselves against the side of the buildings. I could hear the gutters filling and the wind howling in the shaftways. I love when storms come and remind everyone that Mother Nature is stronger than anything. It is easy to forget that in New York. It is easy in New York to forget that. The rain sounded different all over, hitting the garbage bags on the curb, the tops of the air conditioners, the big cloth awning above the bodega, the windows, and the rusty fire escape. Then the lightning came. It was completely soaked, and Mom leaned out and scolded me. Or I was completely soaked, excuse me. And Mom leaned out and scolded me and told me to come inside. When I came in, she gave me a towel for my hair. I heard Cuba barking next door and remember that Mrs. Lau had her windows open. So I went over there. I always wear the key to Mrs. Lau's apartment around my neck. Cuba was shaking and his ears were flat against his head because thunderstorms scare him. All the parakeets were puffed up and squawking. And Mrs. Lau was trying to shut her window, but it was stuck. I wish the landlord would come and replace her windows. She has been asking him for 2 years. They are not safe and they leak. When I went back to our apartment, Kiku and Mom had lined up 3 chairs in front of the bedroom window. They had their feet on the sill and they were getting wet and laughing and passing a bowl of popcorn back and forth. So the rain was like a movie for them. They had left the middle chair for me. Ay, come, Mimi, Mom said. And we sat there and we held onto each other and screamed like crazy every time the thunder came. It sounded like the storm was right on top of us. The curtains blew out and Mom rolled up the peacock bedspread so it wouldn't get wet. We sat there and watched the storm like it was a movie, laughing and screaming and having so much fun. But you know, even though I was happy, I missed Daddy. He should have been having fun with us, and I miss Daddy. That is just what me and her always did when a big storm came off the mountain. We'd stand together in the doorway and wonder at such a strong thing in the world. God is great, Daddy would always say, especially during storms. Now there's no one to close the windows for her. There's no one for her to watch storms with. I am here and she is all alone. Just like Daddy, poor Daddy, who has to eat his meals standing up in a restaurant. He says the best thing about coming home is getting to sit down and eat all together as a family. At one point during the storm, Kiku looked over at me and said, I hope Anna Maria is doing okay. Then his face got pinched and scared because the big dummy had forgotten that Anna Maria is a secret. He is so in love with her that he has to talk about her all the time. Anyway, Mom frowned and then raised her eyebrows like she does when she is both interested and suspicious. And she said, who is this Anna Maria? I thought Kiku was going to fall down dead. He opened his mouth and closed his mouth like a fish. I felt so sorry for him that I made up a lie. I said, she's a girl at my school who is scared of lightning. Kiku thinks it's funny, so he's being a jerk. Mom tissed and sighed and said, oh, Kiku, you be nice to that Anna Maria. Kiku looked at me and made his eyes wide and laughed his head off. He said, if you say so, Mom. It was a close calling. By the way, the reason why Anna Maria is a big secret is because Mom wants Kiku to marry an Indian girl. She says if he marries an American girl, she will die of grief and shame. She also says that I'm not allowed to ever go on a date ever, and that she will pick out a nice boy for me when it's time to get married. Kiku and I already have a plan that I will look ugly and act like a wild animal whenever I meet these boys Mom wants me to marry. And when I am 17, I will have a secret boyfriend for sure. When I was in India, and it was just me and Daddy, we had a world map from National Geographic. We would unfold it and count all the mountains and rivers and countries and cities in between us and Mom and Daddy and Kiku. I think about that and I wonder if now Daddy counts alone. It is so sad to be far away from each other. We write Daddy letters and we call Daddy on the phone, but it is not the same. Sometimes I get so sad that I have to stop in the middle of the sidewalk and stand still. It's like my legs won't move. All the people keep walking and all the cars keep driving, and after a few minutes, I know I have to keep going. I know there is nothing to do but keep going like everybody else in the city. I think that, and then I am able to move again. But some days I worry so much, I feel like my head will break into a zillion pieces. I don't know why I just told you that. Sorry. After the storm, Mom and myself wiped down the sills and the floor and put the fans in the windows to drag in the cool air from outside. The air was clean, the buildings were dripping, and the pavement was steaming and smelled like stones. I love the smell of summer pavement after the rain. It's funny because Francine in my book also loves that smell. I want to try drinking coffee because she likes it. I think we have a lot in common. By the way, I think A Tree Grows in Brooklyn is not girly. I knew a girl in Mussoorie who would not wear her glasses, so she always got bad grades. She said she would rather be pretty than see properly. I think that is girly. But A Tree Grows in Brooklyn is an amazing book for anyone. I am not sure, though. I have never had a friend who is a boy, except for Kiku. One more, by the way. I can believe that S.E. Hinton is a girl and that she wrote that book. Girls can do anything. Okay, that Mina writes long letters. I'm still reading Mina's letter. Okay, let's keep going. Page 46. August 29th, 2008. Once again, Mina is still writing. She's writing a lot. So this is Mina writing to River. It is another day later, and I'm sitting on the fire escape. The sun is setting, and the tops of the buildings look pink and gold. I can hear the couple on the 4th floor fighting. Kiku says they should get a divorce and stop keeping us awake at night. You ask a lot of questions, so I think you will be a very good newspaper reporter someday. I have read your letter so many times that I have it memorized. It is good that the summer program has ended because I have lots of time to write to you. The red dot you asked me about is called a bindi. So that's this picture here, the bindi, the red dot that Indian women wear. Mom had a laugh that you thought it was magic marker. So magic marker would be the pen, right? It's not a pen. She said to tell you the bindi marks a place of wisdom on the body. It's like a decoration, like jewelry. I've seen Christian people who wear a cross on their neck. A bindi is the same kind of thing. Mom wears a small one made of felt. It is only as big as the tip of a pencil, and it works like a sticker. I wear one during the festival season in October and November if we go to the temple or a party. There are some famous white people who like to wear bindis too, like Madonna and Gwen Stefani. I think it's kind of weird that they do that. Kiku says they are both Italian. Page 48. I have never been asked what I'm good at, so I had to think about that question for a long time. I think I am good at reading and noticing things. I am also good at making a bundle of firewood on my back as I walk through the forest, but I cannot do that in New York City. Also, I have a very good sense of smell. It would take a zillion pages to list the things I am not good at. At the library this morning, I looked at the book by your S.E. Hinton called The Outsiders. It was missing pages, so I didn't take it out. I have put in a request for a copy from another library. It took me 3 months to get A Tree Grows in Brooklyn because all the copies in the city were missing or on hold. I think it is a very popular book. I have finished reading it, and now I'm halfway through it again. It has some hard words in it, but they are beautiful. My new favorite word is succulent. Since reading this book, everyone I pass on the street seems full of stories and dreams and secret sadness. My favorite meal is chawal, rice, kala dal, black lentils, roti, bread, raita, yogurt, spicy mango pickle, and sitafal, a kind of fruit. Daddy and I ate this meal all the time. Actually, I do not know if it is still my favorite because I cannot eat it with Dottie. And part of what it made it taste good was being with her. I think Dottie would like where you live. If she comes to America, I will tell her about your uncle who sells houses. She does not speak good English, so I would live with her and be her interpreter. Then we could all be neighbors. It is very exciting that your mountains look just like mine. I Googled Black Banks at the library and read that it is in the Appalachian Mountains. Mom always says people are people. I guess mountains are mountains. I never knew that before. In Hindi, the word for pine tree is this. That. I'm not going to read that. I don't think I believe in the Bible because I am Hindu. But in our bedroom, Mom has an Arthi puja space where she keeps a picture of the Virgin Mary right next to Lord Krishna. Also, Mom always says, do unto others. And I think that is from the Bible. In Mussoorie, I went to St. George's School where there were many Christian teachers. There are a lot of missionaries in Mussoorie because the British used to go there when they felt hot. Kiku says Christians think that everyone should change to be like them or we will all go to hell. You are Christian, and it doesn't seem like you think I should be one too. Do you? Sometimes Kiku says mean things because he is a teenage boy with a lot of hormones. I wasn't going to tell you this, but I had to ask him what the N-word means. He told me, and then he said a white person who uses the N-word hates Indian people too. I am telling you this so I am not keeping secrets from you, but I hope you are not upset. I asked Mrs. Lau what kind of dog Cuba is, and she said he's a New Yorker. She said he followed her home from work 12 years ago. She thinks he's one of those fight dogs, but he was too nice to fight, so he ran away. This was a new story for me. If I had not met you, maybe I would never have asked Mrs. Lau that question. I am so glad to have met you. I hope your mother doesn't have a headache today. Has she been to Dr. Patel? By the way, I think it's not nice that you think the way Dr. Patel speaks is funny. And I think your mama elbows you because it is rude to stare at someone just because they look different from you. You said yourself it was bad when your daddy didn't like people different from him, right? I bet Mrs. Patel is homesick like me. I don't like it when people make fun of the way I talk. It doesn't seem like I have an accent because I am writing, not speaking to you. But I do have an accent. And if you made fun of me for it, I would not want to be your friend anymore, and Kiku would probably beat you up. Next week, the day after Labor Day, school starts. When I first came to New York, it was March, so I could not go to school because of the city rules that say you have to wait till September. That year, Kiku taught me from his books and made up examinations for me and put smiley faces on them. And then for 3 years, I went to PS 110 because we didn't do much except read out loud from textbooks. Miss Bledsoe at the summer program got me transferred to PS 20. It's just 10 blocks from here. I start there next week. I do not know anyone, so I'm a little nervous. I don't know if I will make any friends. Mrs. Lau says you shouldn't have more friends than you have fingers. She says real friends are hard to find. I think she is right. My best friend, Anuradha, has not written me a letter since I moved to New York. I think she has a new best friend and has forgotten all about me. Mrs. Lau says, if it is true that Anuradha was never my best, if this is true, then Anuradha was never my best friend in the first place. So I shouldn't sit around feeling sad about it. Next weekend, Daddy comes home. I cannot wait to see him. I hope you and Rufus are smiling. Please write back soon and tell me more about your real, true self. Your pen pal, Mina Joshi. P.S. I have been thinking about what you said about computers. Tomorrow I will practice typing at the library. P.P.S. Here's how Daddy makes okra. Heat oil in a pan, throw a pinch of cumin seeds. Fry till the seeds stop sizzling. Then add 1 sliced onion, 6 cloves of garlic. Fry till onion turns pale brown. Next, add okra. It will be kind of sticky at first, but don't worry, that goes away as you mix it. Add a pinch of coriander powder and a pinch of mango powder, half pinch. Fry it all for a little while and then add 2 cubed tomatoes. Cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. Eat with rice or chapati. And yum. PPS. I have started doing those leg stretches. I think it's working. PPPPS. Last thing, I promise. I have never been to an amusement park. I'm afraid I would throw up on a roller coaster, but the Thunderhead sounds like so much fun. It would be worth it. Okay, so Mina, she wrote a very long letter to River and she told her many interesting things about her life in New York. And I hope you liked Mina's letter and I will see you next time. Take care.